Well, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming back. Today I'm going to be talking about ways that you can get out of a trauma bond that you feel like you are in with your parent. Now, last week, or a couple of days ago I should say, I did a video on traumatic bonding with parents, and a lot of you responded pretty well to it, and I think it draws a lot of comments from a lot of you. And one of the reasons why is because I think it happens more than we expect. And I think a lot of people just categorize traumatic bonding as codependency. And that's not quite what it is. It's a different phenomenon. And it's important to have the language to go with it. So you guys responded well to that video. I'm very glad it was helpful. But I think in today's video, I want to highlight and kind of zone in on ways to get out of that trauma bond. Now, I want to highlight and talk about, what creates and maintains that trauma bond, and then how do you escape it? But before we get into that, I do want to introduce myself in case you are new to the channel. My name is Tamara, and I'm an internationally and board certified trauma therapist. I'm also licensed in mental health, and I specialize in treating children, teens, and families, as well as adults who are dealing with trauma. Let's jump in. So as I discussed in the previous video, traumatic bonding is basically the idea that you have developed an unhealthy and inappropriate attachment that's emotional and psychological to the parent that you are attached to. Is it a healthy kind of an attachment? No. Is it something that you're going to stay in whether you want to or not? Most likely, depending on, how entwined that attachment is. Does that mean that you're going to remain in this bond for the rest of your life? Absolutely not. So the first way that I think that you can get out of a trauma bond is basically by building your strength. Now, as I talked about in the previous video, when you're in a traumatic bond, you can't build strength, right? Because most of your strength and energy is geared toward making that relationship work. It's geared toward covering that person and hiding from that person and really trying to, protect them and justify them, right? That's where all your energy is being expended. But what you want to do is build your own strength, right? Find that place in you that, is desirable, and be confident and really do some introspection and some soul searching and some you searching. I call it me searching, and really trying to figure out, who am I? What do I need? Who do I want to be, right? Why am I in this situation? Why am I dealing with this? How did it happen? Why have I allowed it to go on so long? So really doing some internal searching to figure out just what it is that you need and where you're at, right? Without that foundation of knowing what you need, who you are, and why things have happened, you can't really step into a pair of new shoes. So build your strength. The next is examine their behaviors. The only way that you're going to be able to get out of a trauma bond is to understand exactly how they tick, right? Why are they doing this to me? Do they need me to make them feel confident by using me and breaking me down? Why am I being used as an instrument or a tool in this family by this particular unhealthy parent? So really examine their behaviors and their ways. Again, you're really just searching for clarification. You're searching for, pieces to the puzzle that maybe you hadn't seen before. It's something when people come to my practice for psychotherapy, or even when I've worked in other capacity, it's only when that person sits down on the couch and starts talking that they really start to delve into the behaviors of that other parent. They can't see it outside of doing that introspection and outside of doing that examining. It's just not something that happens to them outside of therapy unless you're encouraged to do it, or they're encouraged to do it. So I'm encouraging you, really try to examine their behaviors and figure out where the behaviors are coming from. Okay, that's the only way to move forward. The next thing I suggest is enlist an objective person. Okay, you can't go to your parents' ex-husband or current boyfriend or your parents' mother or father and try to get a really objective perspective. Not always, I should say. Okay, I should add a disclaimer there and say not always. Sometimes you probably should go outside of those people, but sometimes you can go to that parent's mother and father and maybe ex-spouses and get that objectivity. But just to be safe, I would go to somebody who doesn't really understand the situation closely, right? Like a psychotherapist, maybe a really close family doctor, a really close family friend, something that can kind of give you that feedback on the behaviors and the mentality and the patterns of this parent. They can say, hey, you know what? This is what they're doing. This is what they always have done. Okay, that's what you want. The next thing is get your own help. And that might be moving out from under that parent, right? Finding that steady foundation so that you can move. That may be moving in with a healthy person, roommate, a sibling, a family member, a boyfriend, a fiance. That's healthy, right? You don't want to jump out of the frying pan into the fire. Another way is to seek out psychotherapy, trauma-informed therapy, existential psychotherapy. You want to be able to reach for somebody that can really help pull you up because you've been knocked down by that parent. The next thing is take time away. So you need time away from that parent to be able to feel your own emotions, to think your own thoughts, to experience your own emotions and your own experiences. It's only when you're with that person like this, right? So codependent, so entwined, so glued together that you can't really see you. So you want to make sure that you get that time. Why do you guys think that, I'm suggesting that you get that space between you and that parent? What comes to mind? Let me know in the comment section below. Why do you think that I'm suggesting that you get that particular space? It's important that you have that space, but I want to know if you guys can pinpoint why I'm suggesting that. So let me know below. Okay. Decide if it's worth it, right? Is this parent-child relationship that's unhealthy? Is this worth it? Or do I need to break away? Do I need to get away? I talk about that right up here in this video about family dynamics and toxic families. So check that video out. It was pretty helpful to a lot of you who have been with me for a while. But for those of you who are new or haven't been on my channel for a little bit, go and check that video out because I think it'll give you some motivation to step outside of the toxicity of that relationship and really find that foundation. What's going on in the trauma bond? Well, I want you to think of something known as the drama triangle, okay? And the drama triangle is basically this. It is a triangle that the unhealthy parent creates, and they're creating this triangle because it has benefited them in some way. So let me see if I can write this down for you. Maybe I can give you a little bit of an idea. I do this a lot in my office, and it's really getting my clients involved by writing things down and giving them models, right? I'm going to post a video right up here as well where I talked about this model. It'll give you a little bit of foundation, okay? But here's what the drama triangle looks like. There's usually a victim, okay? Let's say that victim is the parent, okay? There's usually a rescuer, and there's a persecutor, not a prosecutor, a persecutor. So a persecutor, if I'm spelling this right, I really hope I am. A persecutor is the individual who's saying, you have the problem, you need to get it together, you are the parent, and you're not doing what you need to do, you're unhealthy, right? It's the you. And your unhealthy parent may actually claim that you're the persecutor, but don't get sidetracked by that because that's not the case. You're actually the victim and they are the persecutor because they're looking at you, right, and blaming you and possibly pulling you into drama, right? So here's how this looks, okay? Hopefully you can see that, but this is how this looks. And there's often a victim at the top of the triangle to kind of show you how the victim kind of rises to the top and kind of dominates and controls the other two at the bottom. So the other two at the bottom is the persecutor and the rescuer. The rescuer may be a neighbor that doesn't know your family very well and will take your parent's side. It could be your parent's current relationship partner, right? Who really would get on their side and not your side. The persecutor, right, is going to be somebody who's going to point fingers and point things out and make accusations and, be objective and whatever, right? That's the person, the you person. And then you're the victim, of course, because you're the one who's being manipulated in this triangle. So, that is basically the drama triangle. And it's a trap that parent creates. And they created out of a need to dominate, out of a need to be seen as the victim, out of a need to really have control over something they don't need to have control over. So that's that. So let me point out what kind of maintains this trauma bond. So we're going to do this really quickly because I don't want to keep you guys long on this video. It's a lot to kind of take in. But I'm going to say unresolved anger. Okay, that's what maintains that trauma bond. It maintains that drama cycle, that drama triangle, I'm going to call it. Okay. Unresolved anger. That parent is angry. They don't know why they're angry. They have unresolved grief, loss, trauma, emotional issues, mental health issues, substance abuse issues. All of that is unresolved. And that's what creates and maintains that triangle and that trauma bond. The other thing is intentional manipulation, right? They're getting something out of this. They're getting something out of manipulating you and everybody else around you. The other is intergenerational trauma. So really picking up patterns of behavior over time in a family, learning how people respond and do not respond to things, thoughts, feelings, behaviors, whatever, right? So that perpetuation of bad and negative behaviors throughout generations can be an issue, okay? Poor communication skills, not being able to openly communicate, getting angry instead of talking, shutting down and stonewalling, gaslighting, right? Minimizing, denying, all of those poor communication skills and defenses can also help to maintain that trauma bond and create that drama triangle. Reenactment is what I talk about right up here. It's a little bit of a different topic. It's a different slant, but the whole idea to reenactment is you take a previous situation that you've gone through and you kind of pull those ways that you behaved in that situation into your current situation, and it impacts the dynamic. Okay, and I'll try to post something in the description box for you as well. Let me know in the comment section below if this has been you. Have you seen the drama triangle in your family? And if so, what does that look like? And more specifically to this video, have you seen that drama triangle between you and your parent? And how do you think you're going to get out of that trauma bond if you strongly believe that this is you? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around with us. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.